Hi, everybody. I'm Laurel Wolfe, Marketing Director at Klarna UK. This is by far the biggest audience I've ever had to speak to, so I'm a little bit nervous. I've been in payments for quite some time. Prior to coming to Klarna, I worked at a payments company called Verifone for many years, perhaps too many years, in fact. So today, what I'm going to talk to you about are strategies for optimizing online commerce from a UK merchant's perspective. So all the information that I'm going to show you today is based on research from analyst house Ovum that we just completed. It's launched today at IRX, so there'll be some press releases going out, have in fact already gone out about it, so you see some coverage, but it's completely fresh and new insight. I have to do this one. So first of all, I want to provide some background on why and how we conducted the research. The UK retail market, and our e-commerce market specifically, is one of the most advanced globally. We've been doing this a long time, but there's lots of players, lots of innovation. It's highly competitive. Additionally, online shoppers are changing. They're more demanding than ever. So the industry right now is embarking on a time of significant change. It's more complex than it's ever been, and it's kind of in a state of flux. So at Klarna, our goal is to help merchants maximize their revenue and boost business. We had some assumptions about what was going on in the market, and we wanted to verify that these assumptions were right, but we also wanted to better understand how the industry perceives its own challenges. So to that end, we commissioned analyst Ovum to interview 100 good-sized, Tier 1, Tier 2, multi-channel, and pure-play merchants, and to collect their thoughts. So over and over, key themes of the research came up in all the interviews, which was retailers face pressure across all channels, improving payments will reduce online shopping frictions, and returns are now a battleground in driving online sales. So in the first subject about merchants facing pressure across all channels, the growth of online commerce continues. That's no surprise, but not at the pace it once did. It is slowing down year on year. But the percentage of commerce via mobile is slated to grow at a more advanced rate, and it's making up an increasingly bigger part of the pie. So you can see here, 2%, 8%, 13%, it is going up quick, the mobile part. And merchants need to take aggressive steps to accommodate and engage with mobile shoppers to win business. Over 90% of merchants plan to invest. Oh, am I already off one? Sorry. So this is the last one that I was talking about, 2 and 8, 13%. And the next slide is that over 90% of merchants plan to invest in ecommerce tools. Oh, I'm not pressing this one. This is it. Sorry, guys. Over 90% of merchants plan to invest in ecommerce tools and solutions over the next 2 years. And this will be key to putting them ahead of their competition and the needs of shoppers. Across different types of merchants, they responded that millennials are today's main online shoppers. And these millennials have certain characteristics. You're familiar with them, I'm sure. They're tech savvy. They demand choice and flexibility. They're impatient. We all are getting more impatient, in fact. If anything doesn't meet their requirements, they go somewhere else. And the battle for loyalty has never been more difficult. But millennials often lack the purchasing power of older shoppers. So your older generations have more money, they have more spending power. The millennials do not. But they make up the majority of the online shoppers. Merchants are aware of this, and we, in the research, found that over 90% are investing tech budget accordingly to cater to the needs of millennials, especially in the fashion vertical. So improving payments will reduce online friction. This is an interesting chart. There's lots of stuff on here. The bottom point, however, friction in the checkout process is what is driving cart abandonment. And this friction is lots of different things. Too many steps to payment, slow payment processing, too many questions, confusing design, and so on. Speed, ease of use, and convenience are key to keeping online shoppers happy. Any cumbersome process on the way to the transaction can frustrate a shopper and cause dropouts. Again, it comes back to being impatient. We're more impatient than ever. We'll give up easily and find somewhere else that can do it better. And interestingly, security concerns were kind of low on the list, not really driving cart abandonment. To me, this kind of means that security is a checkbox. It's a hygiene factor for a retailer. Customers expect it, but it isn't driving cart abandonment. And this has changed from several years ago, where people maybe didn't trust online commerce and felt security was super important. Now they expect it to be there. Also high on the list was offering alternative payment methods. Again, millennials want choice at the checkout. They want flexibility to pay in their own way and the way they want to do it. This is probably the biggest surprise of our research. So top merchant payment needs for the future include in-app and direct debit. Okay, that makes sense. However, 76% want to offer consumer finance at the checkout. This is a much higher number than we thought it would be, in fact. And it comes back to giving millennials, the largest group of online shoppers, options to boost their purchasing power. Consumer finance was significantly higher than OEM payment methods, for example, the next on the list at 49%, your Apple Pays of the world. Though the Pays get a lot of news coverage and share of mind, they lack kind of practical, real-world application to actually drives revenue, unlike something like consumer financing, which a merchant can link directly to making money. And despite the potential, merchants think online consumer financing is too complicated and expensive to implement. This has been true in the past. Traditional providers of consumer finance have lengthy credit applications, slow or even offline decision making, and definitely add friction to the checkout process. However, there's been significant innovation in this space. At Klarna, for example, our credit application is only a few steps. Decision is made in real time, and it can be fully integrated into the merchant's existing checkout, so there's no friction added. And then again, returns are now a battleground in driving online sales. So 98% of merchants responded that free returns help increase online sales. But returns, as you know, come at a cost. Logistics management, they're difficult. Returns have overhead. So we see again in this chart, millennials making their mark. 80% of merchants say millennials are shaping their returns policy. And I personally like the top one, though, about returns being a competitive differentiator. We're often encouraging merchants to think a little bit differently, rethinking returns. The idea that serial returners are bad customers is a mindset we encourage merchants to get away from, because in fact they actually are the most engaged and loyal. Yes, they return more things, but they keep coming back, especially if your return process is smooth. And in addition to the Ovum research, which was merchant focused, we also surveyed almost 2,000 UK online shoppers about returns. So what do consumers think about it? And 35% wanted unlimited free returns, of course, but 27% requested options to pay after delivery, meaning they only pay for what they keep. And pay after delivery concept is kind of win-win, because it gives shoppers the ability to better manage their finances on their own time scale. They can pay, later. Maybe they're getting close to payday, for example, and they don't have quite the funds to cover it. They need a little grace period. And it also helps merchants provide that competitive differentiator in returns that is so important to revenue and brand value and making them different than what anyone else is doing. So in summary, here are the main strategies that we kind of drew from the research, and it's that merchants must continually invest in the customer experience. I believe that woman that was just on, she said something similar, but driven by millennials, expectations are changing, they're shifting. As the market catches up, maintaining a competitive difference will become harder, so standing still is not an option. Also, improving the customer experience helps increase sales across all age groups. So yes, millennials are doing all the shopping, and they expect a smooth service, and they show little loyalty. But also the spending power, as we talked about, is higher with the older shoppers. But a great customer experience, everyone benefits from. So it's something that merchants can do that keeps everyone happy. And improving payments is critical to reducing friction. So that includes new ways of funding purchases. Millennials are more open to using new payment tools and services, and in fact, not having liquidity may in fact be the greatest friction of all. So not having the funds to complete the purchase actually adds friction that you're not in control of as a merchant, but is something that we have to consider to get people to move beyond to that conversion. And then finally, returns are more than a logistical issue. A solid returns policy is increasingly important, but there's scope for innovation here, such as implementing something like pay after delivery options. So that's all the research in a nutshell. And I'm just going to go over a few little things about why Klarna, who are we, what do we do. While we're very big in DACH region and also Nordics, we are kind of a new entrant in the UK and the US, so you may not all know about us, maybe you have, but I'm just going to go over a few things about what we do and who we are. So we are a payments provider. We kind of divide our portfolio into two separate sections. So one is Klarna Payments, which are payment methods. So things like pay after delivery. Our pay after delivery works like this. So a shopper goes on, they buy stuff. They go online, they buy things. We pay the merchant immediately. Then we are responsible, Klarna is responsible for collecting the funds from the shopper 14 or 30 days later. So there's no risk to the merchant, they get their money immediately, and then we are responsible for collecting the money. We also offer different types of point of sale consumer financing, something called buy now, pay later, which allows the shopper to, again, get the goods, the merchant gets paid, but they pay us back after a 3-month grace period, interest-free. And we also do monthly installments. You're mostly familiar with monthly installments. Again, optimized for all devices. Those payment methods can be integrated into existing checkout flow. But we also provide something else called Klarna Checkout, which is gateway service. So it's the full shebang. We'll process all your transactions, including card. Also, you can have pay after delivery in that. And then interestingly, we're completely optimized for online commerce. So we get people to the point of purchase, the point of decision quicker in a more streamlined fashion than anyone else. That's our USP. But interestingly, what we do that's a little bit different is that we enable one-click purchases as well across our entire network. So once someone uses and shops with Klarna once, they can go to another merchant site that's also a Klarna merchant, and it's a one-click purchase. So we are kind of keeping track of the, not necessarily keeping track, but keeping an eye on the shopper, and then we can make sure that they have an even quicker, faster checkout somewhere else. So these are kind of our USPs. This is our why Klarna. So we remove barriers. Pay after delivery and consumer financing empowers shoppers to get what they want when they want. We optimize experience. Our customer-centric frictionless checkout is quick and easy and is proven to increase conversions. And we deliver convenience. We give shoppers choice and flexibility, complete transactions, all the while thinking mobile first for anywhere, anytime online commerce. So all of our solutions are optimized for the mobile experience. We understand that everyone is shopping more on their mobiles, and we absolutely get that, and we cater to that. Key credentials. So I told you that we're quite popular, well-known in DACH and Nordics, but we have 60 million consumers having used Klarna previously, 70,000 online merchants, 600 plus in the UK of those merchants, and growing across 18 different countries and all types of merchants. So we can help any retail sector improve their customer experience online. And these are just some of the UK merchants that we have, some really good brands. Arcadia Group, all of them, they take our Buy Now, Pay Later product, Finery, GHD, Shoe, many others. And then finally, if you want to download the full report, so today I just gave you the quick brief one, the Klarna and Ovum report. Like I said, brand new today. You can get it at this URL. And you can also come see us on stand K25. We would love to talk to you. So that was it. That was quick, huh?
Great. Thank you very much, Laurel.